Old Eddie and the Seagulls, a true story of appreciation. It happens every Friday evening, almost without fail. When the sun resembles a giant orange and is starting to dip into the blue ocean, Old Ed comes strolling along the beach to his favorite pier. Clutched in his bony hand is a bucket of shrimp. Ed walks out to the end of the pier where it seems he's almost has the world to himself. The glow of the sun is a golden bronze now. Everybody's gone except for a few joggers on the beach. Standing out at the end of the pier, Ed is alone with his thoughts and his bucket of shrimp. Before long, however, he's no longer alone. Up in the sky, 1,000 white dots come screaming and squawking, winging their way toward that lanky frame standing there on the end of the pier. Before long, dozens of seagulls have enveloped, their wings fluttering and flapping wildly. Ed stands there tossing the shrimp to the hungry birds. As he does, you have to listen closely. You can hear him say, "Thank you, thank you." In a few short minutes, the bucket is empty. But Ed doesn't leave. He stands there lost in thought, as though transported in another time and place. Invariably, one of the gulls lands on the sea-bleached, weather-beaten hat, an old military hat that he's been wearing for years. When he finally turns around and begins to walk back towards the beach, a few of the birds hop along the pier with him until he gets to the stairs, and then they too fly away. And old Ed quietly makes his way down to the end of the beach and on to home. Excuse me. If you were sitting on the pier with your fishing line in the water, Ed might seem like a funny old duck, as my dad used to say, or a guy that has a sandwich shy of a picnic, as my kids might say. To onlookers, he's just another old codger lost in his own weird world, feeding the seagulls with a bucket full of shrimp. To the onlooker, rituals can look either very strange or very empty. They can seem altogether unimportant, but maybe even a lot of nonsense. Old folks often do strange things, at least in the eyes of the boomers and busters. Most of them probably write old Ed off down there in Florida. Yeah, that's too bad. They'd do well to know him better. His full name is Eddie Rickenbacker. He was a famous hero back in World War II. On one of his flying missions across the Pacific, he and a 7-member crew went down. Miraculously, all of the men survived, crawled out of their plane, and climbed into a life raft. Captain Rickenbacker and his crew floated for days on the rough waters of the Pacific. They fought the sun. They fought sharks. Most of all, they fought hunger. By the 8th day, their rations ran out. No food, no water. They were hundreds of miles from land, and no one knew they were there. They needed a miracle. That afternoon, they had a simple devotional service and prayed for a miracle. They tried to nap. Eddie leaned back and pulled his military cap over his nose. Time dragged on. All he could hear was the slap of the waves against the raft. Suddenly, Eddie felt something land on top of his cap. It was a seagull. Old Ed would later describe how he sat perfectly still, planning his next meal. With a flash of his hand and a squawk from the gull, he managed to grab it and wring its neck. He tore the feathers off, and he and his starving crew made a meal, a very slight meal for 8 men. Then they used the intestines for bait. With it they caught fish, which gave them food and more bait, and the cycle continued. With that simple survival technique, they were able to endure the rigors of the sea until they fought and were rescued after 24 days at sea. Eddie Rickenbacker had lived many years beyond that ordeal, but he never forgot the sacrifice of the first life-saving seagull, and he never stopped saying, "Thank you." That's why almost every Friday night you would walk to the end of the pier with a bucket of full shrimp and a heart full of gratitude. Now read every word of this page. It proves that making money online does not have to be so difficult or expensive. Let me ask you a few questions. Are you literally burning inside to change your financial future? Are you sick and tired of having to answer to someone else? Who do you know that wants to spend more time with their kids? Which friend is hurting financially? Who has told you they want out of their job? Are you tired of working for someone else only to make them rich? The questions are typical, and we all know the answers to them. So if you do have the passion, but you are confused on where to get started, the first steps to take is to get yourself going in the right direction. Now, what if there's an online franchise marketing system that gives you step-by-step paint-for-numbers instructions on how to build an online income? We have created a way to help anyone make money from home. Many people have tried earning income online and quit or failed. Finally, iPass2 is a solution. After years of research, we have created a franchise-style online marketing system with step-by-step instructions. You'll be able to follow iPass simply by following instructions on videos learning how to build a solid income online. Click the image below and watch the iPass2 video with my friend Kevin, and he'll explain the system. It really works. This is Vince Pangori.